Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Karl recording live from Bedford, Pennsylvania on Monday, October 12th, 2020. And before we get going, let me go into my music here. Okay, now let me go into my disclaimer here. Okay, if you're 13 years old or younger, please leave this podcast now. These podcasts are not targeted for children. So please, if you're under 13, please leave now. Okay. Again, this is Karl recording live from Bedford, Pennsylvania, Monday, October 12th, 2020, and I believe today is Columbus Day, so happy Columbus Day. Whatever, I never took that holiday seriously, but that's another subject. And let me get on to what we were talking about last week. Last week I was talking about the side effects from my medicines, because I take a number of different medicines, which resulted in serotonin syndrome and just magnified my already anxiety issues. It made them 1,000 times worse. But today I want to talk about how I was actually treated by my primary care physician, and I'm still pretty upset about it. And my point for this is going to be how this relates to the election and how people are going to be treated under a Joe Biden administration, because it's very typical of what goes on in communist China and Russia. So it's very disturbing. Anyway, I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible because there's a lot to go into. So basically what happened is I went into my doctor's office. I had a really good blood work, and I was anticipating a good chat with my doctor, and he was asking me questions and about how things were going. And I was explaining to him that over the last 3 months or so, I've been getting notes from, and I know they're like young punk kids just doing this, but it's still harassment, it's still unnerving, and it magnified my anxiety. So I was getting these notes about Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and that sort of thing. Vote Biden, join for the notes were not threatening in and of themselves, but I took it as a threat because they are very threatening. Then there was an event here in Bedford, Pennsylvania, where somebody in Shellsburg had a confrontation with some of these so-called peaceful protesters, which are nothing other than rioters and looters and just the complete anarchist, which I totally oppose. They know it. That's why I'm getting the notes. But they're smart enough to know not to leave any threatening messages on the notes, because I give those to the police chief, and if they are actually threatening my life, then they would really take serious action. But for now, the kind of notes they leave, the only thing that the police can do is issue them a citation. That's what the chief of police told me after looking at all the notes. And he also told me that my particular apartment was targeted more than anybody else. Everybody on my street got some, but I got, like, some people got 2 or 3. I got like 7, 10. I got triple, quadruple, though, probably because they know that I live alone and I'm older, and they think I'm an easy target because this is all part of the mainstream media. Keep on saying that the elderly people are vulnerable. So anyway, back to the doctor's office. So I was talking about all this stuff. And then what I was saying, I said, I got to do something. And um, what one of the things I suggested, I said maybe I should get a 22 caliber pistol just to protect myself inside my apartment. And that's when he said that he specifically stated, he says, well, I'm really concerned. And so he goes out for a while. He calls the police. I didn't know he was doing this at the time. He comes back in, and then he says he's explaining to me that that well, I'm really concerned about that, so we're going to do an evaluation. And I said, well, when is this going to be? He says, now. It's like he was really pissed off at me. And uh, what would have been preferable is if he would have said, I'm going to refer you to this psychiatrist here in the area, and then and I want you to go there immediately, that sort of thing. But no, what happened is he escorts me out of his office, and there's two policemen waiting there. They both know me. Normally they would handcuff people, but the guy says, oh, this guy's not a threat. He's not going to attack police. The police were actually very nice in this. It was my doctor that was. Now, maybe there is protocol that he has to follow. Maybe he has to do this. Um, Maybe he's under some sort of, legal obligation. I don't know. I don't know the medical protocol on it. But to me, it was like I was being treated like a criminal. So I was escorted or transported to the local hospital um, by the police for an evaluation. What he was doing is he was giving me a drug test. I don't take drugs. The only drugs I take are my prescription medications. But he was checking me to make sure that I wasn't the meth head or the things or the other druggies that happen to be in the area. And I explained to the policeman that on both sides of my building it's a drug infested nightmare. So I'm pretty sure they're checking into it. But just the fact that the way it was handled was just unacceptable to me. And I let my doctor know about it. There was a form, and I filled that out. But this is what I'm getting at. In Joe Biden's America, okay, if you have any kind of some sort of mental disability or anxiety or something, they're just going to label you as something. And especially if you don't agree with their thing, they're just going to ship you off somewhere, and you're going to be stuck there forever, and you will never get out. And that's why it's so important to vote Trump and get him into office. Um, so I'm going to end with that. It's very upsetting to me. I'm still upset, but I've got. The only good thing about this is that when I was at the hospital, I did meet with a very good psychiatrist. We set things up. Now I'm progressing into outpatient treatment because I do have major depression orders, major anxiety, and we're working on that as in an outpatient setting. But I'm going to probably be changing doctors because this was just not acceptable. And unless when I talk to my psychiatrist, I'm going to ask them about what the protocol is, and I'm going to explain to them and go into detail that I wasn't happy about how it was. So if they explained to me that said, well, his hands were tied and he had to do it that way, well, then that'll make all the difference in the world. But still, it's very disturbing, and I think everyone should know that in this sort of thing, if Biden's in and you have some sort of anxiety or depression or something, you're going to be labeled, and they're going to do just what they do in Russia and China. They're going to ship you off and get you out of society, and that's their plan. And with that, I'll add vote Trump 2020, and go vote in person. This is very important, and I will end with my music here. Okay. All All right, I will talk to you next week. Have a good day, and hopefully it'll be more of a pleasant uh, discussion next time. Take care.